Lisa, we're going to go to the federal finance minister speaking in Halifax right now. Let's listen to Chrystia Freeland.
Semiconductors, critical minerals and metals, and solar panels. On est ici pour discuter l'annonce du Premier ministre ce matin que le Canada va imposer, utilisant le section 53, les tarifs contre les véhicules électriques de la Chine, l'acier et l'aluminium de la Chine, qu'on va modifier nos subventions pour l'achat des véhicules électriques et qu'on va annoncer une très courte consultation concernant
concerning the tariffs on other Chinese elements.
Let me just say briefly, first of all, good morning. It's nice to be with you all, to be back. Listen, we're acting to protect our workers, to protect our industry, to protect, obviously, the generational investments that we have seen coming in our country. In order to thrive, we need to have, as Minister Freeland said, protection, but also we need to have a striving steel and aluminum industry in Canada. So today, I think it's really good news. It's good news for workers, good news for industry, and I think good news for Canadians because that's what they expect from us. So, en français, écoutez, ce matin, on est ici.
Listen, this morning we're here because we want to protect our workers, we want to protect the industry, we want to protect generational investments we've seen. We know that today Canada is the envy of the world in the production of EVs. We've built a supply chain. Even Bloomberg said that Canada was top of the list over the next 30 years for building EVs. Now, obviously, for that, we need a strong industry in EVs, but also strong industry in aluminum and steel, which is exactly what we're doing. Excellent news today for workers throughout the country. Excellent news for the industry and for all who are in the supply chain. And I think also excellent news for Canadian consumers.
It's really good to see everyone today. I just want to say thank you to all of those that we talked to over the last short little while to arrive at the government's decision. So to those that are part of auto parts, certainly the automobile industry, many of the workers, and of course those in the steel and aluminum industries, I want to thank everyone who's given us very, very excellent input to help us arrive at where we are today and the decision to impose the tariffs as we've taken the decision to do.
Ministers, Kate McKenna from CBC. If you could answer this question in both English and French, that would be great. Have you communicated with China about these tariffs and how are you preparing for potential retaliatory measures?
So let me just start by saying our government's starting point is to act resolutely to defend the national interest, to defend Canadian workers, and to defend the Canadian economy. That's our starting point. And as Mary said, we spent the summer speaking in great detail with the leading stakeholders. So I met with car parts sector, car manufacturers, steel industry, aluminum industry, critical minerals and metals, and labor. And the message we heard was very, very clear. Now, of course, Canada needs to be ready for all manner of reactions, and we are. But our starting point is we have to do and we will do what the national interest, what Canadian workers require. Alors, pour nous,
so for us,
la chose principale,
the main thing, the most important thing is the national interest, is the interest of workers, of Canadian workers. It is the economic national interest. And we will always act and do what's necessary to protect all our workers, our manufacturing sector, and our economy. Obviously, we need to be ready for all reactions, and we are ready.
Did you talk to China? Does China know this was coming?
Of course, Canada believes also in having open, frank, and candid conversations, and that is what we have been doing.
I'm going to replace the microphone. I understand you want inaudible. I understand you want to focus on the problem of Canadians and on the improvement of the economy. Do you not feel that you are closing the eyes on the mood of Canadians, which seem to not be listening to you? So by doing this, aren't you sort of being blind to what is happening in Canada and the mood of the electors?
Tous les ministres,
All
tous les députés
ministers and MPs have spent the summer in the field, on the terrain. We've had multiple conversations with all Canadians in our writings and throughout the country. So for us, it was a summer of listening. It's very important. And today and yesterday and tomorrow, we're together to share what we've heard and also to discuss how we can and how we should work to answer the needs of all Canadians, to deliver for all Canadians. Listen, I think it answers the moods of Canadians. What people are saying and what Ms. Freeland said is they want action, a government that listens, but also taking measures to save jobs in the industry, to ensure that the whole economy works for all Canadians. That's certainly what we heard, and what people talk were affordability. Every day with our colleagues, we get up and we think, well, how do we make life more affordable for Canadians, for food and groceries and housing, and also take measures that will protect good jobs throughout the country. Steel and aluminum industries are the future, and EVs are the future. So I think Canadians have told us, listen to us and act. And I think today the concrete answer is acting. I think Canadians want to see actions, a government that's determined, optimistic, and I think what Ms. Freeland just announced is exactly answering that need from Canadians to have concrete actions to defend them. So why don't we see the needle of surveys? If you're saying we're listening and we're hearing, why isn't that needle moving? It's been a year now that you're behind in surveys. We are really focused on all Canadians. We are focused on conversations that we've had throughout the summer, and now, and with today's announcement.
We've been listening to the federal finance minister speaking in Halifax at their Liberal retreat, taking some questions from reporters about the new tariffs that Canada has placed on Chinese EV and steel and aluminum, and what kind of trade wars that could potentially spark. Well, we're going to